face if they continue to escalate. Now, the Trump administration is considering extending its travel restrictions to include 36 additional countries, many of them in Africa. An internal U.S. State Department cable reviewed by Reuters outlines potential entry bans for nations failing to meet these key benchmarks. These include passport security standards, cooperation in deportation processes, and efforts in counterterrorism. The move follows a proclamation earlier this month blocking entry from 12 countries as part of what Washington describes as a strategy to tighten national security. The proposal is drawing widespread reaction across Africa. In Zambia, political analysts see the potential ban as a diplomatic pressure, suggesting the US may be using it as leverage to push for stronger bilateral cooperation.
I'm inclined to think that as the US government has done, the Trump administration has done with other governments, it perhaps may be a leverage to want the Zambian government to engage the American government into resolving whatever challenges the American government may have regarding Zambians, some of whom indeed have been found to have either overstayed in the USA or illegally living in the USA, and so that eventually, of course, impacts on the relations between the two countries.
In Ethiopia, residents voiced concerns over fairness, with some describing policy as racially driven, citing the high concentration of African nations on the list.
We can say these bans biased based on the color of people, because majority of countries in the list are from Africa. This should not be expected from him. This erodes the acceptance and respect of the country in global diplomacy and reduces her share of global power.
If they say you can't enter our country, what can we do? We can't force them. But in my opinion, it will benefit us both if they take and give educated manpower, because America is said to be a land of opportunities. But if they say you can't enter our country, I think that is their right.
Now, this isn't the first time travel bans have stirred controversy under the Trump administration. Back in 2017, a ban targeting 7 Muslim-majority countries went through multiple legal challenges before being upheld by the US Supreme Court in 2018. Critics say the latest proposal mirrors that strategy. Broadening its scope under the pretext of national security, the final list remains undisclosed. But if implemented, it would mark one of the largest expansions of US travel restrictions in recent history.
One of Africa's key trading partners reports that the Trump administration is considering extending its travel restrictions to more countries, which many of them in Africa has sent ripples through the global business community. If Trump goes ahead with his decision, it may indirectly dampen trade negotiations, joint ventures, and collaborative projects. A restrictive travel environment could foster a climate of distrust or hesitance amongst African entrepreneurs and investors to engage with U.S. counterparts. This may lead to a shift where African businesses, entrepreneurs lean towards alternative markets or partners, reducing the U.S.'s influence and economic engagement with the continent. For African startups aiming to enter or expand in the U.S. market, travel restrictions complicate the efforts. This is Kalden Omo from Johannesburg, South Africa for WION World is One.
And with that, we call a wrap on this edition of the News Bulletin. News and updates continue on the other side on WION World is One. Stay tuned.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
Hello and welcome. You're watching WION World is One. My name is Him Korsara and here's a look at all the top stories that we're tracking for you right now. Israel says it has killed Iran's senior-most military commander Ali Shadmani, the wartime chief of staff, in an overnight strike on the command center in the heart of Tehran. Shadmani is claimed to be the closest figure to Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. US President Donald Trump says the reason for his early return from G7 summit in Canada was much bigger than a ceasefire. In a social media post, Trump denied that he left early to work on a ceasefire proposal. China accuses President Trump of pouring oil on Iran-Israel conflict, says Trump's fanning the flames, making threats and mounting pressure will not help promote the de-escalation of the situation.
Huh?
110 Indian students from Iran's Urmia Medical University have crossed the border into Armenia. According to the Jammu and Kashmir Students Association, they are to arrive in the capital Yerevan this afternoon and are to fly to New Delhi tomorrow. Russia's security chief Sergei Shoigu arrives in North Korea to meet Kim Jong-un for a second time in less than 2 weeks. Defense talks in India witness a sharp rally as the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran enters its 5th day. The Nifty India Defence Index climbs over 1.6% during the session, breaching the 9,000 mark. Oklahoma City Thunder fend off a late comeback from the Indiana Pacers to win a 120-109. They now lead the series 3-2 and are just one victory away from the NBA championship.
Ayatollah Khamenei tweeted almost every day, "Death to Israel."
I want to see no nuclear weapon in Iran.
Now, Israel is reportedly using mobile phone tracking to find and kill important Iranian military and nuclear figures. The IRGC-affiliated Fars news agency has reported that mobile phone tracking technology is being used to carry out assassinations inside Iran. The report added that even turning off mobile phones at meeting locations or residences can still reveal individuals' whereabouts. It recommended using secure anti-tracking phones. Israeli strikes have dealt a major blow to Iran's military chain of command by killing several top generals and nuclear scientists. The report follows a call by a Tehran lawmaker urging military and government officials to collect their own and their associates' mobile phones to prevent them from being tracked. The report said that Israel previously killed Ismail Haniyeh in the same way in Tehran. The former Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed in Tehran in July 2024. Iranian media, including the military-linked Fars news agency, have reported that the mobile phone tracking played a role there as well. Iran widely blames Israel for this assassination, calling it a violation of its sovereignty. However, Israel has never taken responsibility for the killing or accepted that it has such a phone tracking technology. Israel had also used communication devices, mostly pagers, to target Hezbollah. On the 17th and 18th of September last year, thousands of handheld pagers and hundreds of walkie-talkies intended for use by Hezbollah exploded simultaneously in two separate events across Lebanon and Syria. More than 40 deaths were reported, while thousands were injured. Israel was widely held responsible for the attack, and in November, Netanyahu admitted that Israel was in fact responsible. When Netanyahu met President Trump this year, he even gifted him a commemorative pager. As tensions between Israel and Iran continue to escalate, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made a big statement. He suggested that assassinating Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei would, quote-unquote, end the conflict between the two nations. In an interview with ABC News, Netanyahu was asked about the reports that US President Donald Trump has rejected an Israeli plan to assassinate Iran's Supreme Leader. Netanyahu said, and I'm quoting him here, "It's not going to escalate the conflict, it's going to end the conflict." He further went on to claim that Iran wants a forever war and is pushing the region towards nuclear conflict. Netanyahu also said Israel is trying to stop that by standing up to what he called the forces of evil. Furthermore, in a press conference, Netanyahu also said that Israel is changing the face of West Asia through its military campaign by eliminating Iranian military leaders one after the other. He emphasized that Israel is well coordinated with the United States during this operation, which was aimed at Tehran's nuclear and missile programs. Netanyahu also noted that Iranians now perceive their government is much weaker than they thought, suggesting this could lead to further consequences. He urged Iranians to rise up against their government, stating that Israel's actions could help pave the way for their freedom.
We will do what is necessary to achieve these goals, and we are well coordinated with the United States. We are changing, as I said on the first day of the war, we are changing the face of the Middle East, and this can bring radical changes in Iran itself. The Iranians understand that the regime is much weaker than they thought. They realize it, and that could lead to results.
Earlier, two U.S. senior officials said that Israel had spotted a credible opportunity for eliminating Khamenei in recent days, but Trump blocked the move. According to reports, the Trump administration is keen to prevent Israel's deepening military campaign aimed at crippling Iran's nuclear ambitions from spiraling into a wider conflagration. Washington feels that a deliberate move to eliminate Khamenei would likely have triggered regional collapse and destabilization. Now, Israel and Iran traded deadly fire again on Tuesday as fifth day of strikes, fueling fears of a drawn-out conflict that could engulf West Asia. Here are all the latest developments for you. Israel's military claimed to strike a staff command center in the heart of Tehran, killing Ali Shadmani, the wartime chief of staff and close aide of Khamenei. The Israeli military said Shadmani had commanded both the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps and the Iranian armed forces. The Israeli army also released footage of what it said was strikes carried out on surface-to-surface missile storage and launchers and surface-to-air missile launchers, as well as UAV storage sites in western Iran. Loud booms were heard over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem Wednesday morning. Air raid sirens sounded in several parts of Israel as the military warned of incoming Iranian missiles. The White House has insisted that U.S. forces remain in a defensive posture in West Asia, despite a military build-up over the Israel-Iran war. The White House spokesperson Alex Pfeiffer said on social media that American forces are maintaining their defensive posture and that has not changed. The White House comments came after a warning from President Donald Trump for people to evacuate Tehran, which raised speculation that the United States may be readying to join Israel in attacking Iran. But both White House and Pentagon officials reiterated that US forces in the region remained in a defensive posture. Iran state television was hit by an Israeli strike. Images show the Islamic Republic of Iran broadcasting IRIB building on fire. Iran condemned Israel's attack on the state TV building in Tehran as a war crime and called on the UN Security Council to take action. The incident occurred as a news anchor was broadcasting live.
فضای غبارآلود استادیوم
The Bazan Group has its oil refinery in the Haifa Bay. All its facilities have been shut down after an Iranian strike. 3 people killed in the missile strike on the refinery overnight. Bazan is currently working with the Israel Electric Company to resume electric supply to the facility. Now, the Iranian media has rejected Israel's claims of destroying Iranian Air Force's F-14 fighter jets, saying that the targeted aircraft were decoys which were placed at Tehran's Mehrabad International Airport. We were earlier joined by defense expert Peter Kousnik and independent journalist Anthony Loenstein. This is what they had to say. Listen to this.
Failure of deterrence, you could say that it is a failure of deterrence. It's a preemptive attack based upon a crisis that didn't really exist. Iran was a year away from a bomb under the original Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA. But Donald Trump blew that up. And then he's trying to negotiate a new deal, but he insists that Iran give up its legally mandated right to enrich uranium. Under the original deal, Iran could enrich uranium to 3.67%. As a signatory to the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty, Iran has that right. But then Trump draws this line and says no enrichment at all, which Iran could never accept, and which Trump should have known that Iran would never accept. So in a sense, that Trump initiated this. Biden foolishly never went back to the original nuclear deal.
Absolutely. I mean, is it a complete collapse in any kind of red lines? I mean, every serious international law expert in the last days has said that this Israeli attack was illegal from day one. I mean, let's be clear. Israel has been wanting, when I say Israel, Netanyahu and many people around him, for literally 30 or 40 years to attack Iran. And if you look at these headlines since pretty much the 1980s or 90s, they are always saying the same thing. Iran is on the verge of a nuclear weapon. There's been zero evidence of that ever happening. And we all remember, those of us with a long memory, 2002, 2003, around the Iraq War, where Israel, the US, many Western allies alleged that Iraq, Saddam Hussein, had nuclear weapons. No nuclear weapons were found. Zero. It was a war based on a lie, and around 1 million Iraqis were killed in the process. We are at the similar point here, 20 plus years after. None of this is to deny Iran's repression, authoritarianism. None of that is to deny that. I have Iranian friends who loathe this regime with a passion because they themselves are being negatively impacted either outside Iran or within. However, virtually everyone I speak to is saying none of that means that we support strikes on Iran, because if the Iranian regime collapses tomorrow, next week, There is no plan. What happens to the 90 million Iranians who are facing a deeply uncertain future? There are many pro-US and pro-Israel Iranian forces claiming that they will represent Iran or they will run Iran. They have no legitimacy within Iran itself. So whenever people see this in the media, that pro-war Iranians, either in Iran or outside, are talking about supporting Israeli strikes, remember, none of these groups have any legitimacy or support within Iran itself. So the day after, like we're seeing in Gaza, where there is still no day after, where this is ongoing massacres and genocide has been continuing for nearly a year, there is no plan. So to believe the US or Israel or European states that somehow these strikes on Iran are legitimate are wholly inappropriate and wrong.
Now, US President Donald Trump left the G7 summit in Canada a day early, heading back to Washington. Trump's helicopter lifted off from the summit venue in Canada to take him to his plane. Shortly after, G7 issued a joint statement calling for de-escalation on Iran, while stressing that Israel had the right to defend itself in the escalating West Asia crisis. The statement said, "We affirm that Israel has the right to defend itself. We reiterate our support for the security of Israel. We also affirm the importance of the protection of civilians. Iran is the principal source of regional instability and terror. We've been consistently clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon." Now, earlier, French President Emmanuel Macron claimed Trump was considering the prospect of a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Calling Macron a publicity-seeking president, Trump said that his French counterpart had mistakenly said that he'd left the G7 summit to go and work on a ceasefire. Now, the US president further said that Macron had no idea why he was on his way to Washington and that it had nothing to do with a ceasefire but something much bigger. This is not the first time, he said. At the 2018 summit coincidentally hosted in Canada, Trump left the gathering of world leaders to meet with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. Owing to his early departure, Trump will miss important discussions, including that on the Russia-Ukraine war, but he kicked off the summit with a big statement on the war. He said, "It would never have begun had Russia continued to be part of Group of Seven, which used to be the Group of Eight until Moscow's removal in 2014, following its annexation of Crimea." He called it a mistake and pinned the blame on former US President Barack Obama and former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
I think Iran is foolish not to sign one. It's foolish not to sign one.
Mr. President, Iran is accusing...
G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in, and I would say that that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in, and you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago, but it didn't work out that way.
Now, Democrats are seeking to limit US President Donald Trump's powers amid the ongoing Israel-Iran war. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine has introduced a bill to restrict President Donald Trump's ability to launch military strikes against Iran. Kaine said Americans don't want another forever war. The bill cites the War Powers Resolutions of 1973. This law passed during the Vietnam War. It limits the president's authority to engage in hostilities without Congress. Trump would still be allowed to order military action in self-defense if an attack is imminent. However, the bill would block him from launching preemptive or offensive strikes without congressional consent. To become law, the bill must pass both the Senate and the House of Representatives. It would then require Trump's signature, which he is expected to withhold. Congress can override a presidential veto with two-thirds majority in both chambers. During his first term, Trump vetoed 2 war powers resolutions, one of them led by Kaine in 2020, also aimed to limit his authority to strike Iran. Meanwhile, House Speaker Mike Johnson has reportedly postponed a planned trip to Israel amid the ongoing tensions. He previously announced plans to address the Israeli parliament. In a statement, Johnson said that he hopes to reschedule the address in the near future.
Brilliant. I just told you we credit him with all the big changes with Doge and everything else. It's curious to me what happened this week, and full disclosure, Elon and I had a great conversation about a half-hour-long talk on Monday this week.
Now, the onset of monsoon has begun in western and northern India, and it's taken on fierce dimensions in several parts of the country. Landslides in the northeast and waterlogging in Karnataka have wreaked havoc. The weather department has predicted rain and thunderstorms in Delhi, Noida, and other parts of National Capital Region on the 17th of June. The forecast includes gusty winds reaching up to 60 kilometers per hour during evening and night. Despite the expected showers, no heatwave conditions are likely over the coming days. The weather department has also predicted heavy rainfall in districts of Gujarat with thunderstorm and lightning across various states in India. As the monsoon spell returns, it made its way to heavy rain in Mumbai with overnight downpours, with record rainfall crossing 60 millimeters in some regions. Waterlogging became a common feature of the city roads. On the other hand, coastal districts of Karnataka and Maharashtra too are set to receive very heavy rainfall with thunderstorms and gusty winds. Regions in Maharashtra and Goa are in for heavy showers. According to the IMD, several districts in Karnataka are on orange alert as well.
Over the last 48 hours, southwest monsoon activity has significantly picked up over parts of the southern Indian states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. From Tamil Nadu specifically, the Nilgiris district has received almost 50 centimeters of rainfall, 50 centimeters of rainfall in a span of 48 hours, that is between Sunday and Tuesday. Let's remember that this is a hilly district prone to landslides and flash floods when there are extremely heavy rains, and the prediction for heavy to very heavy rainfall continues for the next couple of days. Let's remember that adjoining district of Coimbatore has also been at the receiving end of very heavy rainfall. Further, there are several districts in Kerala where a yellow or an orange alert has been issued for the next couple of days. So this clearly indicates that there's a great deal of monsoon activity having picked up in the southern Indian states. Let's also remember that as far as Nilgiris district is concerned, schools have been shut, there's been power disruptions. At the same time, there's also been tourist places that have been shut in this district that largely thrives on tourist inflow. From Chennai, Siddharth MP, WION World is One.
And with that, it's time now for a short break. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side. Lots lined up for you. Reports suggest that US President Donald Trump has requested that the National Security Council be prepared in the Situation Room as he returns from the G7 summit in Canada. All details on the other side. Stay tuned for that.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the US.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate tracker on WION World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
welcome back. Thanks very much for staying on with us. You're watching our continuous comprehensive coverage coming in of the latest from West Asia. I'm Molly Gambhir. We're starting off with a quick look at the headlines at this hour. Iran says it destroyed strategic positions in Tel Aviv and Haifa overnight using drones with precise destruction and targeting capabilities. Intense strikes raged for a fifth night into Tuesday. Israel says it has killed Iran's senior-most military commander, Ali Shadmani, the wartime chief of staff, in an overnight strike on the command center in the heart of Tehran. Shadmani is claimed to be the closest figure to the Iranian supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. US President Donald Trump says the reason for his early return from the G7 summit in Canada was much bigger than a ceasefire. In a social media post, Trump denied that he left early to work on the Iran-Israel ceasefire. China accuses President Trump of pouring oil on the Iran-Israel conflict. Says Trump is fanning the flames, making threats and mounting pressure will not help to promote the de-escalation of the situation. "110 Indian students from Iran's Urmia Medical University have crossed the border into Armenia, according to the Jammu and Kashmir Students Association. They are to arrive in capital Yerevan this afternoon and are to fly to New Delhi tomorrow. Indian markets trade lower as they track weak global cues. Both the Sensex and the Nifty trade below important psychological levels, but defense stocks bucked the trend. Oklahoma City Thunder fend off a late comeback from the Indiana Pacers to win 120-109. They now lead the series 3-2 and are just one victory away from the NBA championship.
Square Garden. He can get hot. Williams has been hot all night, falling away. Got it! OKC in front here in the NBA Finals.
Ayatollah Khamenei tweeted almost every day, "Death to Israel."
I want to see no nuclear weapon in Iran.
US President Donald Trump has requested that the National Security Council be prepared in the Situation Room as he returns from the G7 summit in Canada. This according to reports, which the White House spokesperson later confirmed to CNN. It may be recalled that Trump was seen in the Situation Room during his first term, along with then Vice President Mike Pence and other senior advisors, when America's drone strike killed the Iranian Major General Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad in 2020. The Situation Room is an intelligence management complex on the ground floor of the West Wing of the White House. It was established in 1961 by President Kennedy after the Bay of Pigs disaster, which revealed a need for a centralized crisis management center. It is in this room where former President Barack Obama and his top aides watched the raids that killed Osama bin Laden. While it's unclear what will transpire in the Situation Room this time, it's important to note that Trump has rejected his French counterpart's claims that he is leaving the G7 summit in Canada early to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. The US president further said Macron had no idea why he was on his way to Washington, adding that it had nothing to do with ceasefire, but something much bigger than that. And earlier in the day, the US president said that Iran should have signed the deal he had told them to sign. In a post on his Truth social network, Trump stressed Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, something he admitted he has said over and over again, and issued warning to those living in Tehran to immediately evacuate. This while Pentagon is expanding its military presence in West Asia. US Defense Secretary had said that he directed the deployment of additional capabilities to the region, posting on social media platform X. Hexet said protecting US forces is our top priority, and these deployments are intended to enhance our defensive posture in the region. Let's now go straight across to Dr. Glenn Diesen, who's joining us from Oslo, Norway. Thanks very much for being here. First of all, let's talk about Trump's early departure from the G7 summit. He said it's something much bigger than the Iran-Israel ceasefire is the reason why he's leaving. In the backdrop of that happening, he's also been urging people to evacuate immediately from Tehran. We also laid out for our viewers the past instances where the Situation Room was the nerve center. Explain to us your assessment of what's happening at this point.
Well, I think initially when Israel